Frank, why is lifetime income planning so important right now?
You know, there's a handful of obvious reasons, one of which is the fact we have approximately 10,000 people crossing over age 65 each day on average. So it's changed substantially the demographics in this country. Primarily, when you look back even 40 plus years, you'll see that we had approximately 16 workers for each one retiree. Today we're pushing on a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 workers for each retiree, and over the next 2 decades it will go to 2-to-1. So it changes a great deal the structure of demographics as far as our tax system is concerned.
That sounds like it could be problematical in terms of contributors supporting retirees in the Social Security system.
And one of the problems right now is while we're collecting approximately $800 billion in FICA taxes, the outlay today for both Medicare and Social Security alone are $1.5 trillion.
Okay, and that's just as the first baby boomers have crossed that 65 mark.
Exactly, so that gap is starting to widen even more because, again, we're experiencing record deficits that will continue to grow even wider, and I think that could be a very big stress factor, tax-wise especially.
Okay, are you predicting a failure of the Social Security system or just uncertainty about what people are going to get from Social Security?
I think people are going to feel a lot of uncertainty, but I can't predict that the Social Security system will fail because we rely on it too much, but it is going to create a strain elsewhere where I think professionally and personally there has to be some major cuts in spending and some increases in taxes across the board just to allow the system to be sustainable.
What about the wealth of these people that are turning 65?
Well, that's a big issue for the financial industry because over 80% of the wealth currently is in the hands of people age 60 and over. So what we have is a large segment of people that are in a much different situation where they have to live off of an income eventually. It reminds me very much of the Mount Everest analogy.
Okay,
which amazed me to know that of all the deaths that have occurred from people climbing Mount Everest, I was surprised to know that over 90% of those deaths occur on the way down the hill, not on the way up the hill. And that's amazing to know. At first I was shocked because I didn't understand how years of training doing such a climb could cause somebody to fail. But then again, that's what we're faced right now financially with many retirees, and it's a very similar statistic.
Okay, so in a sense, the retirement planning industry has focused heavily over the years on accumulation of wealth. And now many of their clients are getting to the point where the issue is now not accumulation, but decumulation or distribution. And people in the financial planning industry may not really be comfortable or may not have really thought about what's different when you're doing a decumulation portfolio.
And exactly, it is a major paradigm shift. And 20, 30 years ago, accumulation was definitely a big issue. And today we have to make sure that we're addressing an audience of people who are, again, in their 60s, near or at retirement, who possibly need to stretch money over as much as 2 or 3 decades of retirement while dealing with the increased living costs.
So what are some of the biggest challenges for people nearing retirement?
Some of the most obvious ones clearly are inflation. While it seems like an issue today, what costs are, when you stretch inflation out, even at today's very low 3% rate, which I consider low going into the future, a dollar cost in retirement would project to be approximately $2.44 in the 30th year.
Okay.
And that's if inflation, low inflation is the only factor alone that they have to deal with.
So 3% sounds trivial, but over 30 years it will pile up.
Right, and I think with all the money that's been printed, chasing too few goods and services, we have a clear indication that inflation should be an issue going forward.
Okay, so I read where there are several ideas about how the Fed will be able to reabsorb all of that money down the road and prevent inflation, but then this is the same Fed that has not been exactly successful in combating many other issues. So I think the point here is we should be careful of hubris here, of thinking that in fact the Fed can deal with the issue. It may still be a very real issue.
And our job, I think, is to be on the alert, because I think inflation has to be a real issue. There's no real rational scenarios that dictate how we can really foresee it staying very low.